So this screencast is going to cover the custom crystal report with links to RE NXT, and we're going to start at the end. So here's the report running inside of RE NXT, and you'll notice I'm in my browser. I'm already logged into my RE NXT tenant, and then back over here in Razor's Edge in the embedded crystal report, if I click on the name link, it's going to go ahead and launch and open up the constituents record on a new tab in my default browser, and it's going to go straight to that constituents record because I'm already logged in. I had to log in to get to database view. Back on the report, if I want to go to the specific gift, I can click on that, and because this is using the gift system record ID as opposed to the constituent system record ID, it opens straight to the gift. And then lastly, if I'm interested in all of the portfolio assignments for the prospect manager or assigned solicitor assigned to this particular constituent, because it's using the assigned solicitor system record ID, it's going to take you straight to the, not only to their work center, but straight to the portfolio tab, and you can see everybody that they're assigned to. So that's it, and it's fantastic, and it works when it's embedded as a custom crystal report running directly inside of Razor's Edge and database view. I think this way is a way to get a lot of people using RE NXT more and more who are normally in database view as their default, like gift processors and database administrators. The great thing about it is that if you export this as a Adobe PDF, the links still work even outside of Razor's Edge. So let's look at that. If we close and we just open this report in an Adobe PDF reader, so here we are, same thing. We'd been opening Ormond's record. We can open, doesn't matter, we can open Luvinia's. Again, we click on that. It's going to go straight to the constituent system record ID plus your tenant ID. And because you clicked on the constituent's name, it's going to go straight to their record. And again, back in the PDF, all three of the other links work too. You can click on the gift link, and it's going to go straight to the gift record. And then back in the PDF, lastly, if you go to the, well, we were already at Grace. Let's go to Liza as the assigned solicitor, and it'll go straight to her, the portfolio tab of her work center. So it also works in there. So how do you do this? How do you get this set up and working? We can close out of the PDF, and we can go back into Razor's Edge. And if you haven't ever built a custom crystal report, I normally just advise people, it's basically three things. Build your query, build your export, that's a Blackbaud report writer database, and then assemble your crystal report. This is a little different because in the export, since we're only doing this for weekly gift activities, we don't really need a query because the export can handle it, and I'll show you what I mean. So in export, we have the previous week's gift export. And when you open that up, you can tell, even though it says all records, on the output tab, here's the warning because it's already in use. When you click the criteria here, click the first record and click criteria, you can see that it's just going to grab last week's gifts. It's going to pull soft credit to both and matching gifts to both. And we set it up to pull all the gift types and everything that we need. If you are a masochist and still use the split gift functionality, then you would also need to pull the gift amount from fund, but we're not doing that here. So once you set all this up, you set it to export, and here you'll see that it's going to export. We've created a custom crystal folder in our tenant file share. This is in Blackbaud's Azure cloud hosting environment powered by Azure, and it's going to run there. So let's open that. If you haven't seen the cloud hosting with Azure, here, let's show you how fast this is. It's just awesome. So we're going to run this timer. We'll do compact, and we'll make sure it always stays on top. All right. Watch how fast files open. And I can also show you database view. But anyway, so we're going to click hosted files to launch files and then start the timer. So we click hosted files, and we start the time. I can't even start the timer. Same thing for getting into database view. I'll click, well, I got to close out of database view. Hang on. Alright, so I'm out of database view. I'm going to click open database view, and I'm going to start the timer. And there you go. Less 5 seconds, 6 seconds, and then when you're in a record, there is absolutely no lag. It is blindingly fast when you switch from tab to tab. There's no delay. So if you're not already in cloud hosting and you're not using a lot of plugins, I know not all the plugins are ready for cloud hosting in Azure, but if you can move, it is fantastic. I think it's what hosting always should have been. Anyways, back to the custom crystal report. We can exit this. All right. So once you've exported it, you've got your MDB file. You can also, from the blog post, you're going to have access to the custom crystal report file. And again, same thing. If we go to crystal reports, it's going to launch pretty fast. There it is already. And then if we open up our the custom weekly gift activity report, whenever you open a report that's already been embedded, you get 2 warnings because the runtime versions of the embedded reports are different than the hosted crystal. You can just click OK, and then sometimes you get a second warning about a default printer. You can also just click OK. But anyways, here's the custom crystal report. If we were doing this from scratch, if this is all brand new to you, if we just did a new blank report, you have to browse out to your database files, to the connection that you did. You need to pull over all the tables. You do need to reset all your links. Crystal Reports 8.5, if you're a longtime Blackbaud user, their default used to always be left outer joins. Starting with Crystal 11, they switched to default inner joins, and that's just database geeky speak for if somebody has to be in both to be in the final output. So best thing to do, I know it sounds crazy, you just clear all the links, and then you just let it auto-arrange, and you say link, and then double-click on each one and change it to a left outer join. And you'll notice that the icons change, right? Instead of being the same two-headed, you see the arrow on the right because it's coming from the left. So this just allows null values and blank values to render as expected. And everybody doesn't have to have a data field in each table, and they'll still show up in your report. So once you do this, and obviously the more fields you have, the longer this takes, but once you do this, you click OK, and now your database fields are here, and you can start sorting and grouping. So here we grouped by the sort key of the person, and then we grouped by the gift import ID. And then we also did some filtering. We made it look, let me show you. We gave it a little bit of NXT-ish styling. Apologies to the Sky UX team. But we tried to make it have some zebra striping, kind of like the NXT lists do. And to do that, it's pretty easy. You just need to add this formula. If you go to Format section, and you go to Color, you just need to add this formula. It's basically if it's an odd number record, then you want it to be this light silver. Otherwise, let it be white. So this is really all you need out of that. So the way you add these links, I realized I didn't really cover. So obviously, whenever you're in Razor's Edge NXT, you can grab your tenant ID. I always think it's a good idea to go ahead and grab the question mark and then all the way to this. So you can grab this. So you can grab your tenant ID here and just copy that and put it in your clipboard. And then also what you're going to need in Crystal Reports is whatever field you want to be clickable. So we have the constituent addressee. Then what you want to do is basically under the format menu, you want to say go to hyperlink, right? And then there's this formula here, and you're allowed to enter a formula. And here you'll see I've put it in with some comments, right? Because you obviously have to replace, you're not mapped to my tenant ID, so it's not going to get you any, it's not going to do you any good. You can click on it, but you'll get a weird message saying you're not mapped to this tenant At least I hope you do. But basically, you have your tenant ID that we just copied, right? So you can just paste that in here. And you would replace my tenant ID with yours. And that's really it. It's already going to pull, if you set up your export, it's already going to pull your constituent BIOS system record ID, which is the field you need. So we're not going to save the changes to this. So that's the hyperlink for that. The hyperlink for GIFs, here we did it on this cache received formula field. So again, you can get to it from format hyperlink, but you can also right click and just go to format field and hyperlink. It all roads lead to Rome. And same thing. Again, all you have to change is this tenant ID and RE NXT number. The last one's slightly different. Getting to the portfolio, the hyperlink on this, let me see if I can make this big enough to see the whole thing. Here it's not just your question mark and your tenant ID. Go ahead and put in the / portfolio ahead of the question mark, and that way you won't just be going straight to the work center, but you'll actually be going to the portfolio tab and then landing on the portfolio tab of the assigned solicitor based on their system record. Assemble it, well, you don't even have to assemble the fields. You just have to change the data location to match your own, and you shouldn't even have to do that because it's mapped to the same location as the report. But that's really it. Once you have it all set up and it's running, we can close out of this. We didn't make any changes. We don't want to save that. And then to embed it in Razor's Edge, if you've never done that, it's just under Reports, Custom Reports. You do New. You have to select your export. And again, I don't know why it defaults to Microsoft 95. You're never going to find it. It has to be a Blackbaud report writer database. Here's our previous week gift export. You have to browse to your custom crystal. So again, if we go to the tenant file share on F or the tenant file share UNC path, I'm not sure which one is better. And in that custom crystal report folder, there's our weekly gift activity report. You can click save, and we can call this. There we go. All right, and once that's done, you can go ahead. You can go ahead and click preview, and it's going to export that file to the MDB location. And because you've got refresh export checked, it's not going to use any cached information. It's going to force it. Then you can make it be, we'll make it bigger for the screencast. And then same thing, we'll click on a new one. We'll go to Corenzo's record. And when we click the link, the constituent link is going to pull up her constituent record in Razor's Edge NXT. The gift link would pull up the gift, and the assigned solicitor would pull up. So that's really it. I think with this screencast and the resources in the blog post, you should be able to build this yourself. And I think it would be super helpful for getting more and more people to use RE NXT, even if your day-to-day work happens in the database view.